We were all hoping that what happened in 2023 with all those layoffs, all those companies shutting down, was just an exception, right? And after 2023 passed away, we could have a fresh new start, and could be a new start for the industry, not just the game industry, but also the feature film and the visual effects industry. Sadly, it looked like it's not the case. The beginning of this year is been devastating. All right, Blizzard lay off 2,000 people, Riot another 500, plus there is few other company also laying off, and there is no day I can really open my LinkedIn without reading news of company laying off. I think some people calculated that only in this first month, January, we had half of the layoff of the entire 2023 for the gaming industry. So, which obviously is nothing so positive. And today I want to discuss a little bit more in depth about the reason why this is happening, because I know some people mention a few very valid reasons, but I think there is one big reason that I want to discuss today that is not being brought up enough. Okay, guys. First of all, I just want to mention one thing. Last year, I already made a video called "Nobody's Safe" about the layoff, because it was happening to all the giant tech and the visual effects and feature film studio. And I said, guys, no, we don't know for how long this layoff continue. Don't make the mistake that you think after 1 year is passed, magically things will go back to normal. It can happen, but it's not always the case. And even if you get a job after you've been laid off last year, don't make the mistake to think, okay, the storm is gone and now I'm getting back on my feet and this will never happen again. Okay, because obviously our industry is shaky now more than ever, and we don't know until things will assess to a proper, more balanced industry. All right, we don't know about that. But let's talk about the reason why this is happening. Obviously, the big one that everybody's talking about is because during COVID, guys, everybody was stuck at home, and so the consumer of game or digital platform like Netflix, streaming platform and everything increased exponentially, because everybody stay at home, nobody could go out. So what else can you do? And so what company did in order to meet this demand, they overhire a lot of people, and in order to create more content, right? They increasingly get up and speed up in terms of how many employees they hire, right? And maybe they were hoping, I don't know, that this will be a new trend, that this will be the new norm. Obviously, once COVID was over and we all go back to our normal life, we are not spending so much time anymore in front of the computer, in front of the TV, and we're not consuming as much as those digital content as we did before. So we are going back to the pre-pandemic level. And now what's happening is that all those companies, they hire a lot of people, and there is not enough work, because producing so much content is completely useless if you're not selling it. All right. On top of this, we have huge inflation, economic crisis. The bank is increasing the rate for loans, so borrowing money is not as convenient anymore, right? So those are all valid reasons, and all together escalating to this point. But as I mentioned, there is one, in my opinion, big reason that nobody is talking about it, or if they do, it's not been talked too often. So see, for the couple of years, I follow some analysts that they were saying, very, very valid point, that AAA games are becoming unreasonable, expensive to make, and there must be at some point a shift in the industry where the industry needs to be more sustainable. And I think this year and next year, probably this shift, it's actually happening. Again, pure speculation here, but I think it's also another big reason why this is happening. To give you some context, guys, if you think about back 7-8 years ago, when a game developer spend $100 million to make a game, it will hit the news, right? Because like, hey, this game is spending $100 million, so everybody was excited, said, oh my god, the graphics must be so good, so much content, who knows how long does the main story last, what kind of technology they use, blah blah blah. And was it in the news because it was an event, right? Spending that kind of money for a game, right? It was kind of surpassing the blockbuster movie. In today times, it's normal. If a company spends 150, 180, 200 million, it's not a big news anymore. Sure, they might write it down, but nobody is impressed anymore. right? And this is a huge problem, because when you're spending so much money to make a game, in order just to break even, well, you need to sell at least 5-6 million, all right? And it's quite risky. So that's the thing we need to consider. You don't have the guarantee that when you spend hundreds of millions of dollars equal good sale. Okay, the two things are not related. If you don't spend them well, wisely, it might not guarantee you the sale, right? Or maybe just people at some point might just get tired of playing the same game over and over just because it has a better graphics, and you might not sell well. It's unpredictable, guys. And okay, of course, if you have behind your back Sony and Microsoft, you can maybe afford to fail one and maybe a second title not selling that well, because you are the main studio under their wings. Even though we are saying that now those studios are shrinking their studio as well, right? Microsoft and Sony as well with Bungie. But somehow you can still survive. For other studio, if you spend over $60 million and you fail, you're close. You shut down entire studio. You don't have a second chance, okay? And this is obviously a very bad things to do business, because we have to remember at the end of the day, this is business. And in my opinion, one of the things that leads to this situation is because since the last 10 years, when a company creates a new IP and the new IP goes well, what happens is they try to milk that IP and try to make sequel after sequel after sequel, and they're not gonna be brave anymore in terms of gameplay, experimenting new things. In fact, guys, you probably noticed that anytime they need to sell a new sequel, they say, hey, we have blah 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 number 2, and we have a bigger map. The map is double of the size. We have more content, more main quests, more side quests, more fetch. We have 15 hours of cinematic. We use this technology, so it's only about more and more, right? It's never about, oh, the gameplay change, we try these new things. No, it's just about having the same but more and more, right? Bigger and bigger. And then it happened the same with the sequel of the sequel, and then with the sequel of the sequel of the sequel. And so you can imagine where this is going. You need bigger team that produce more and more. The costs continue to grow and grow until at some point you hit the ceiling, because this system cannot continue to go forever, all right? Because the risk reward, it's always bigger and bigger. You need to spend more and more money, and you need to sell more and more copies to just to break even or to make a profit, right? And you have to understand that at the end, this is, again, as I said, it's a business. There are people investing in those companies, and they started to thinking, should I invest millions and billions of dollars and then wait to 5 to 6 years, because now this is the time for a AAA title, and then if I'm very, very, very lucky, I'm gonna double my investment, but there is also an 80% chance I'm gonna lose money. You see how it started to make no more sense anymore. There are plenty of other industry that can be more profitable with less risk. And so I think now companies have started to realize that investors started to ask more sustainable way to make things more not just more profitable, just more sustainable for the long run. There is also another things that nobody is considering enough. When you consider, okay, this company has been spending 100 million to make blah 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 number 2, there is also another thing, that this company is probably spending the same amount of money to make a new project, a new IP, right? And sometimes those new IP get cancelled. Look what happened with Blizzard. I think there was a Survivor game or something. It's been in development for 6 years. They cancel it, right? Probably was not a good shape. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But all those money spent and all those people put there for 6 years, it's gone. You're never gonna see a return in that money. So now when you sell a product, you don't always have to only to catch up the money that you spend from that game, but you need to recover from money from other project that has been cancelled. It happens with Naughty Dog with the multiplayer of Last of Us. It happened with Skull and Bones that is coming out now. Has been, I think, in development for 8 years. Who knows how much it needs to sell just to break even. So there are plenty of other games. There are probably many of other projects that we never know about this, and those are huge expenses for a company as well. They don't show up when they say, oh, we spend 100 millions for this game. But what about all the other things, all the tech that you think that those things don't produce money? So how are you gonna, be profitable from those? So I guess there are all those aspects, and that things needs to be kept in consideration. Another thing that is happening right now that's putting really a smack to everyone else is when Pokemon with guns comes out, and apparently they have a very small budget done by a very small team with no experience or very little experience, and they sold 8 million copies of 1 week. Imagine the slap in the face to everyone else, to the big company that spend hundreds millions of dollars, and then maybe they sell 3 millions, and then there is a little team that with a very small budget, they say 10,000, I don't believe it, let's assume 1 million, they sold 8 million copy. Imagine the slap in the face to the big company. They feel like, okay, probably we're doing something wrong here. And in my opinion, the problem is that this is a witness when I joined the company at the very beginning of my career. And anytime they try to do a new IP, it's only about the graphical, technological, it's about the story, it's about the environment, the settings, how to push here and there. It's very, very little about the focus on the gameplay loop. Okay, if you ask them, okay, about how the gameplay is going to be better than this other game that you're trying to beat, and there is never a clear idea, or at least most of the time. Then you have a small company that just focus on the pure gameplay loop, that it's fun enough to justify people to buy it. The people don't care about anything else. They don't care if this is a copy of Pokemon. They don't care if the characters are done by AI, probably. They don't care that the developer has no experience. They don't care about its very small budget. They only care about that the game it's fun, okay? I know some people might say, Alessandro, but it's unethical what they did, blah, blah, blah. But bottom line, we have a game done with probably this very small budget of $1 million, selling 8 million copy, and then on the other side, budget of $150 million, and it's a very uncertain how much they're gonna sell, right? So we have these two scenarios, but there is a lot in the middle, okay? So I think we need to find a middle ground here in the middle, and so maybe there are plenty of good games with very good idea that could be done with a budget of 10 million, 50 million, 20 million. We don't need to have always huge map. We don't have to have 20 hours of gameplay, of cinematics, sorry. We don't have to play a game for 100 hours until I feel exhausted playing a game over and over. No, maybe all this is not needed. We need to find a better balance. But then, Alessandro, doesn't mean that those huge we're gonna see this huge AAA title with huge graphics, it's gonna die. I don't think so, because those, in my opinion, those are the only reason why you should buy a new console or a new graphic card, right? If we don't see those big AAA titles with this amazing graphic, why you should buy the new PlayStation 6? Why you should buy the new Nvidia, right? If they have the graphics of Fortnite, for example, right? So I think we're still gonna see those things happen. Maybe those companies will be willing to sell at loss, because at least you can sell the console, at least until the new a new system like Microsoft is having this digital system where you pay a monthly fee and you have basically free game, right? If that things became the new way of making games, yes, we probably might see a decline in those AAA games that cost so much, right? Because now the console doesn't really matter anymore. But again, it's a little bit too soon to talk about this. We'll have to see. All right. But bottom line, again, guys, what I want you to understand from this video is that the industry is going into a shift. It's gonna be rocky. We don't know how it's gonna be in the future. So try to stay strong. I really hope you guys can land, your next job very soon. Can all you be safe and healthy. I know most of you might be sad, devastated about this. My heart and my prayer obviously are all with you guys, and it's gonna be difficult times. I hope things will get better. I hope we'll find a more sustainable way to produce game. I think this will be very important for the benefit of the industry and for us, right? Because it would be nice to have a job where you don't feel scared about losing your place or being replaced by AI, or just being laid off because things are too expensive and people don't know how to manage things properly, right? I think everybody wants to go to work and have a peace of mind and not be afraid to be laid off anytime, right? So we need to find a better way to be more sustainable and to do like a better job. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have anything in the comments you want to write, let me know. See you next time. Ciao.